birthday is tomorrow, and we shall sing for her.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I read that.
Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Tara. Happy birthday to you. Yeah,
How old are you?
Alright.
Does anyone still like you? I heard when you turned 20.
Alright.
Likes you.
Tara's going to share with us some poetry. Give it up for Tara to the mic.
Who's in charge of this?
Oh, I can help you.
We're only going to feed sugar to our face.
Is that better?
Yes. So we're doing our Easter set first, right?
You can do whatever you want because we are switching over into the free-for-all round of awesome. And go.
Okay. Because I'm late and I'm really sorry for being late.
Everybody's face.
To get organized.
Maybe we need to go under our car seat.
So here's my Easter poem. Okay. So it's called The Crucifixion. Why did the sun his beams conceal, as if unwilling to reveal the deed of mankind on the day when Jesus at the altar lay? A willing sacrifice, earth too in terror shook, when the mighty died on Calvary. When for our sins he bowed his head, gave up the ghost, and quickly sped to the regions of the dead. And some who had for ages long been wrapped in slumber deep and strong, awoke and by their converse showed that death no more dominion had, in that death he died. Why did he die, a blissful thought? When we knew death and hell were wrought, he left his Father's courts above to have such amazing love and died to save. Why did he die? Why, it was love divine that caused him all things to resign. A heavenly choir, celestial home, exalted seat, seraphic song, and all to save. Blessed thought, he reigns victorious now, to whom all earth will shortly bow. Let men below and saints above wonder at such stupendous love as caused the gods to die. In all the world there is no place as dear to me as the empty tomb within Gethsemane. Been singing the praises of the cross, and rightly so. It is, yes it is, the empty tomb I love to go. It's there with Paul I'll daily die when sore oppressed. It's there where men are loath to go away sweetly rest. It's there when heart aches, angry waves envelop me, in faith I lift my mournful face. There is no place so fraught with power our souls to save as is our Lord's last resting place, his empty grave. In darkest hours, grief beside a new-made mound, I go again, the depths of God's great love to sound. And while I view the grave enclosed, the echoes ring, where is the victory in the grave? And death, where is your sting? As one by one the loved ones cross the threshold's gloom, I fain believe, embrace, receive the empty tomb. I'm not good at doing things, and I tried, I must have written 5 poems. I started and trashed them, and I said, okay, so it's like a combination of 2 poems. So. Okay, and then I guess in keeping with the theme, this one's not an Easter poem, but I guess it could be. It's quite the opposite of this last one. And this one's called Play Upon the Devil's Violin. You cross that line, embracing it beyond its limits, only needing a cure for the itch. This time a remedy is inconceivable. See how simply complicated is the mind? I dare you, try to figure out these creative musings of the wretched. Is it really so terrible? I'm trying to keep just who I am, I'm chasing away innocence with chance. You have to be ruthless in this life. You do know someday we will all die, right? I slip and fall, we all have secrets. My courage is secretly false. The notes of the devil's violin begins, playing a woeful song, paying a guilt-ridden tribute to my soul and tugging at the shreds of which remains untainted by you. They refuse to rest. Ever so slight are the quiet reflections of my heart. I beg for these fears to remain silent, forgetting who I am, lost in this sin. The fire of my fury upheld by my own denial, the tricks and trials by sadistic jury of light. Hush now, follow me, it will be fine. In the end they bend until they crush you. Loved ones never again to trust you. Eternally bound by shackles, smoke swirls, curls around you. Silently witness love's essence burning down, swaying to the tune of a violin off in the distance. These demons took a detour and walked in my shoes, devouring all my realism. What a trip this is. Partly the witness she bleeds to. Shred an image and destroy a dream. Everything has to mean. No way to acquire is not a thing. Is it really so bad to let the notes rip you apart? The melody's actually sort of nice. Listen carefully, there you go. We captured your soul and made you believe in everything that you hear. So I will torture you with one last one. I'm sorry if it gives you a headache. Okay.
We'll blame it on the sugar.
Yes, sugar. Blame on the sugar. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird standing up here. Okay.
Enjoy it.
Alright. So this one, I lost the title, so it doesn't have a title. I'm gonna be all artsy and say untitled. Okay, so here we go. She questions existence to the softest cry, voicing only her solemn lullabies, the invisible cadences wrinkled with time, now swaying, now fading to the beat of an eternal piano. Those vibrant notes falling in unison, and now she touches her face, noticing the damp fusions while her soul begins to write her story. To tell this autobiography, listen as the music begins. She never lets the real music play. She's saving these songs for herself, no one else. But there is rock music inside her. These resonating lyrics echo within her, restless and crude, rhymes perceived to be a sin. Turn up the volume and listen, this is how she really feels. Like a nightmare when you cannot hear yourself screaming, she sings with soul while she tries to stop dreaming. She performs daily in a one-man show, unplugged and breathtaking, and her audience still remains zero. The people don't like all this noise. Where's the beat? Where's your harmony? They say, go back, edit the tracks. Try it again, watching those turntables start to spin. But all she has is what comes out, lyrical shouts telling of her life, brimming with tales of a mind. Listen carefully and close your eyes. Come along, she says, to my oblivion, where a concert plays upon my heart, never ceasing to tear me apart, and where only my conscience is the worst critic I have, but it's all I got. It gets so lonely here upon her stage. All she ever wanted was someone willing to hear her play, to see her selfless performance, afraid to share this story. Not everyone gets to hold on to the fame or has the courage to accept the glory. Maybe one day her song will play and touch the hearts of the ones who covet her sanity and criticize her clarity. Fast forward now, stop and press rewind and forget. Whoops, let me tell you. Fast forward now, stop, press play, forget rewind. I dare you to listen to it this time.
It's fairly long, Renaissance. All I could see from where I stood was 3 long mountains and a wood. I turned and looked another way and saw 3 islands and a bay. So with my eyes I traced the line of the horizon, thin and fine, straight around till I was come, back to where I'd started from. And all I saw from where I stood was 3 long mountains and a wood. Over these things I could not see. These were the things that bounded me, and I could touch them with my hand. Almost, I thought, from where I stand. And all at once things seemed so small. My breath came short and scarce at all. But sure, the sky is big, I said, miles and miles above my head. So here upon my back I'll lie and look my fill into the sky. And so I looked, and after all, the sky was not so very tall. The sky, I said, must somewhere stop. And sure enough, I see the top. The sky, I thought, is not so grand. I most could touch it with my hand. And reaching out my hand to try, I screamed to feel it touch the sky. I screamed, and lo, infinity came down and settled over me, forced back my scream into my chest, bent back my arm upon my breast, and pressing of the undefined, the definition on my mind, held up before my eyes a glass, through which my shrinking sight did pass, until it seemed I must behold immensity made manifold, whispered to me a word whose sound deafened the air for worlds around, and brought unmuffled to my ears the gossiping of friendly spheres, the creaking of the tented sky, the ticking of eternity. I saw and heard and knew at last the how and why of all things past and present and forevermore. The universe cleft to the core lay open to my probing sense, that sickening I would fain pluck thence, but could not, nay, but needs must suck at the great wound, and could not pluck my lips away till I had drawn all venom out. Ah, fearful pawn, for my omniscience paid I toll, in infinite remorse of soul. All sin was of my sinning, all, atoning mine and mine the gall, of all regret. Mine was the weight of every brooded wrong, the hate that stood behind each envious thrust, mine every greed, mine every lust. And all the while, for every grief, each suffering, I craved relief. With individual desire, craved all in vain, and felt fierce fire. About 1,000 people crawl, perished with each, then mourned for all. A man was starving in Capri. He moved his eyes and looked at me. I felt his gaze, I heard his moan, and knew his hunger as my own. I saw at sea a great fog bank, between two ships that struck and sank. 1,000 screams the heavens smote, and every scream tore through my throat. No hurt I did not feel, no death that was not mine. Mine each last breath that crying met an answering cry, from the compassion that was I. All suffering mine and mine its rod, mine pity like the pity of God. Ah, awful weight, infinity, pressed down upon the finite me. My anguished spirit like a bird, beating against my lips I heard. It lay the weight so close about, there was no room for it without. And so beneath the weight lay I, and suffered death, but could not die. Long had I lain thus, craving death, when quietly the earth beneath gave way, and inch by inch so great, at last had grown the crushing weight. Into the earth I sank till I, full 6 feet underground, did lie, and sank no more. There is no weight can fall here, however great. From off my breast I felt it roll, and as it went my tortured soul burst forth and fled in such a gust that all about me swirled the dust. Deep in the earth I rested now, cool is its hand upon the brow, and soft its breast beneath my head, of one who is so gladly dead. And all at once and over all, the pitying rain began to fall. I lay and heard each pattering hoof upon my lowly thatched roof, and seemed to love the sound far more than ever I had done before. For rain it hath a friendly sound to one who's 6 feet underground, and scarce the friendly voice or face, a grave is such a quiet place. The rain, I said, is kind to come and speak to me in my new home. I would I were alive again, to kiss the fingers of the rain, to drink into my eyes the shine of every slanting silver line, to catch the fresh and fragrant breeze from drenched and dripping apple trees. For soon the shower will be done, and then the broad face of the sun will laugh above the rain-soaked earth, until the world with answering mirth shakes joyously in each round drop, rolls twinkling from its brass plate top. How can I bear it, buried here, while overhead the sky grows clear, and blue again after the storm? O multicolored, multiform, beloved beauty over me, that I shall never, never see again. Spring silver, autumn gold, that I shall never more behold. Sleeping your myriad magics through, close the pocket away from you. O God, I cried, give me new birth, and put me back upon the earth. Upset each cloud's gigantic gourd, and let the heavy rain down pour. In one big torrent set me free, washing my grave away from me. I ceased, and through the breathless hush that answered me, the far-off rush of herald wings came whispering, like music down the vibrant string, of my ascending prayer and crash, before the wild winds whistling lashed. The startled storm clouds reared on high, and plunged in terror down the sky. And the big rain, in one black wave, fell from the sky and struck my grave. I know not how such things can be. I only know there came to me a fragrance such as never clings to aught save happy living things. A sound as of some joyous elf, singing sweet songs to please himself, and through and over everything, a sense of glad awakening. The grass, a tiptoe at my ear, whispering to me I could hear. I felt the rain's cool fingertips brush tenderly across my lips, laid gently on my sealed side, and all at once the heavy night fell from my eyes, and I could see a drenched and dripping apple tree, a last long line of silver rain, a sky grown clear and blue again. And as I looked, a quickening gust of wind blew up to me and thrust into my face a miracle of orchard breath, and with the smell, I know not how such things can be, I breathed my soul back into me. Ah, up then from the ground sprang I, and hailed the earth with such a cry, as is not heard save from a man who has been dead and lives again. About the trees my arms I wound, like one gone mad I hugged the ground. I raised my quivering arms on high, I laughed and laughed into the sky, till at my throat a strangling sob caught fiercely, and a great heart throb sent instant tears into my eyes. O God, I cried, no dark disguise can e'er hereafter hide from me thy radiant identity. Thou canst not move across the grass, but my quick eyes will see thee pass, nor speak, however silently, but my hushed voice will answer thee. I know the path that tells thy way, through the cool eve of every day. God, I can push the grass apart, and lay my finger on my heart. The world stands out on either side, no wider than the heart is wide. Above the world is stretched the sky, no higher than the soul is high. The heart can push the sea and land, farther away on either hand. The soul can split the sky in two, and let the face of God shine through. But east and west will pinch the heart, that cannot keep them pushed apart. And he whose soul is flat, the sky, will cave in on him by and by. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Britt! To the next reading. Edna St. Vincent Lay, right?
Yeah.
Julie's great-great-grandmother.
Is that your last name? All right. Are there any other poets that would like to bring? Rose's got one. All right, we got one over here. We got any other takers? Frankie, we got two over there. Any other takers? Any other takers? Our open mic. Brittany over here. We got three.
Are we on auction now? We're gonna call it.
And next we're gonna auction on our women. Okay. So we got
We're gonna auction like a rubber off between your house.
So
Buddy ears.
we've got three more poets wanting to bring themselves to the stage. Anybody else? All right, David, four. All right, four more poets to the mic. In any order, we're gonna throw up Rosie. Next, give it up for Rosie.
I read this 2 weeks ago, but it's the best poem ever. It's not one of mine, it's from Star Trek, but as I've mentioned, it is the world's best poem. It's called Ode to Spot. Felis catus is your taxonomic nomenclature, an endothermic quadruped, carnivorous by nature. Your visual, olfactory, and auditory senses contribute to your hunting skills and natural defenses. I find myself intrigued by your subvocal oscillations, a singular development of cat communications that obfuscates your basic hedonistic predilection for rhythmic stroking of your fur to demonstrate affection. A tail is quite essential for your acrobatic talents. You would not be so agile if you lacked its counterbalance. And when not being utilized to aid in locomotion, it serves to illustrate the state of your emotion. Oh, spot the complex levels of behavior you display, connote a fairly well-developed cognitive array. And though you are not sentient, spot, and do not comprehend, I nonetheless consider you a true and valued friend.
Keep it going for Rosie. Our next poet to the mic, her name is Frankie. She's awesome. I need you to give it up right now for Frankie to the mic. That wasn't good enough. One more time.
You guys thought you were going to get away with that. Okay, so this one's pretty short, and it doesn't really have an official title, but I called it Breakfast in Bed. Beneath my sunburned skin, I built a home of veins and arteries, sinew and bone. I carved a pit in my heart and put you inside, and I wore the scar with arrogant pride. Then death with her swayed hands made me a bed, and in the heavy dark I laid my head. I dreamed you swallowed the stars and the moon, then scraped me up with your silver spoon. You sighed and your breath blew me flat, the curve of the spoon cradling my back. You said, ask me all you want to know. I whispered, what will I do now I'm alone? No holy carpenter can fix my home. Your skin became as white as bone, your mouth became a thinner line, and you pressed a fingertip to mine. You terry cloth flower, you said to me, you broken sidewalk, you are beautifully ugly.
Keep it going for Frankie! And I would just like to also advertise, I'm meeting individually with all the poets. We have a writing workshop here every Sunday at 2 o'clock, but I'm also sitting down individually with all the poets and working with you. So if you'd like to sit down and work on poetry, I'm available and talk to me afterwards. Our next poet to the mic, her name is Brittany. I think I already read her bio earlier in the evening, so give it up right now for Brittany to the mic.
Okay, I have a short one now, so hopefully I won't freak out too much. It's by Sappho, and it goes, it's about spring, kind of. Tomorrow you had better use your soft hands, Dika, to tear off dill shoots, to cap your lovely curls. She who wears flowers attracts the happy graces. They turn back from a bare head.
Keep it going for Brittany and Sappho. Our next poet to the mic needs no further ado. Give it up right now for David Blackwell.
I'm just trying to find something really short.
Better watch out, we'll pick for
Look, the
you.
Easter bunny.
Look, the Easter bunny!
Yes, the Easter bunny is walking out the window. For real.
There are cupcakes made by Frankie with her bare hands all over the table.
Cookies by Tara, too.
And cookies. Where are the
And then a half-eaten chocolate rabbit
Cookies.
somewhere.
by Tara, and then also
Infertility.
Frankie.
Infertility peeps.
And yes, peeps, if you'd like to get pregnant.
I suppose poetry peeps.
How do you equate peeps with getting pregnant? Hold on.
Peeps. They're fertility peeps. They're fertility peeps.
Oh, there's pregnant rabbit phones? Yeah.
Rabbits,
Yeah, too bad I don't have any pregnant rabbit phones.
These are good.
But if, everyone's ready, I can
Alright, we're ready for
read
you,
something
David.
here, so hold on here. Walking quiet streets, dark buildings against the moonlight, no one around, feeling the life and stillness, like the world has taken a different face. Where are you? Will I find you walking the streets, or will I just see a reflection of whatever is being reflected back at me? Once someone wrote, she hopes I find someone to take away the sadness. I hope for that. Just sometimes, I don't believe. It's just me in the quiet world of mine. Can I find you somewhere among these empty streets? Will we find what we're looking for in the silence?
Keep it going for David Blackwell!
Mark still owes us a chicken dance.
Mark still owes us a chicken dance, fertility ritual dance.
Do you have chicken dance music, Ben?
I'll get this one. Alright. So, I want to thank you guys all for coming out to our Easter themed Geek Poetry Open Mic. We're here every Sunday. 2 to 3 is our writing workshop. 3:30 is our sign-ups. 4 to 6 is our open mic. I want the winners of the prizes to come up here and take a picture. Even though our prizes are all happy, and that's kind of awesome too. And I want to take a picture of Frankie with her cupcakes, and a picture of Tara with her cookies and all that stuff, so don't leave right away. What else did I tell you? There is a mailing list up here at the front, so if you're not on our mailing list, get on it, stay connected to us. That way you can find out when we do awesome things like this, and give away amazing prizes like fertility peeps and Easter baskets and all kinds of awesomeness. Thank you again to the Boiler Room. Thank you again to all the poets for coming out. Thank you again to our DJ Ben.